I think Bitcoin will be over 250,000 by the end of this year or next year.
What's going to drive that?
What's really next for the Bitcoin price now that Donald Trump has issued a pause for reciprocal tariffs for 90 days?
Well, I thought that people were jumping a little bit out of line. They were getting yippy, you know? They were getting a little bit yippy, a little bit afraid.
Watch today's whole video so you have all the information so you can make the best decision for you in 2025 and make the most money in crypto in 2025. And while technically speaking, we are not out of the woods yet, Trump temporarily drops tariffs to 10% for most countries. So it's not a pause to zero, it's now just 10%, which was a lot 2 weeks ago. Now that's a little, along with a full-on trade war with China. So is this good for markets? Is this bad for markets? And how seriously should we take this when we're looking at how to invest in the year 2025?
Well, Becky, we are much better off than we were at this time yesterday, but are we as good off as we were 3 months ago? I don't think so. Actually, interestingly enough, with the 125% tariff on China, the 10% blanket tariff, the average tariff actually went up yesterday with the raise in China, and JP Morgan calculated at 23%, which right now is higher than the Smoot-Hawley tariff at this moment. So, you know, we're not out of the woods on the tariff. I mean, we'll see what gets negotiated. It definitely, will have to be a negotiation with China. I don't know whether Trump holds as many cards as he thinks he holds on that. But I know that Trump will declare a victory. And by the way, it is good to the extent that he has 75 countries he will be negotiating with. But the shock of what happened, I don't think you can get that out of consumers' mind or investors' mind for quite a while. And so I don't think we can challenge those February highs for quite some time.
So here's the issue if you're invested in Bitcoin, the NASDAQ, the stock market, is that market participants in general hate uncertainty. If they know to expect bad news, they can price that in. If they have great news, then they can easily price that in. But when you have something so sporadic as 40% tariffs one day, down just to 10% another day, 90-day pause, 60-day pause, also trade war with China, which is one of the biggest financial markets in the world next to the US. Markets are in shock as investors just aren't willing to deploy capital yet. There's trillions and trillions and trillions of dollars on the sidelines. Yes, we've had a relief rally. Relief rallies are very common when markets go down so far so fast. Relief rallies happen. But here's the issue. The issue is if Trump is just going to tweet in 2 weeks the tariffs are increasing, that's what they're scared of. Or also maybe this was truly the end of tariffs or the most shock and fear we're ever going to see, could be the perfect buying opportunity. But the point is, we just don't know. Markets hate uncertainty, and that's the issue. It is important to understand that fundamentally, Bitcoin is in such a better place than where we were just a year and a half ago. Pro-crypto Paul Atkins has officially been confirmed as the new SEC chair, meaning the regulators are pro-crypto. We have never seen that before. We also have clear institutional demand from the ETFs.
The reason for the call today, John, is something just came across my desk, John. It is perhaps the best thing I've seen.
As well as an official strategic Bitcoin reserve, where the largest country in the world says, we're holding. This is valuable. We want to hold this. So this does sort of explain that why Cardano founder Charles Hoskinson says, despite the tariff impact, he sees Bitcoin to $250,000 by this year or 2026.
What'll happen is that the tariff stuff will be a dud, and then people will realize that the world is willing to negotiate. And it's really just U.S. versus China, and a lot of people will side with us, some people side with China. The markets will stabilize a little bit, and they'll get used to the new normal.
And Altcoin Daily will always keep things real with you. For example, when I put out this video at the beginning of 2025, markets were up, things were bullish, Trump was about to take office. I put out my 2025 Bitcoin price prediction with sell targets, and even though I was incredibly bullish, I won't deny it, I was incredibly bullish because of all the fundamentals, I didn't know Trump was going to pull a 180 on valuing the stock market as a scorecard.
Stock
We're not
market
gonna have
will
time to
boom
talk about it.
if I'm elected.
But even during this time of euphoria, I always did leave it on the table that in a bull market, Bitcoin could correct, could dip back to $69,000, $70,000, and to me, it would still be a bull market. But that does also mean Bitcoin can dip in this next year back into the 70s, low 70s, and to me, that does not invalidate the broader trend. Meaning even in times of peak euphoria, I try and prepare you for all options. I try and give you all expectations, but here's the key. This is what no other crypto channel is talking about for Bitcoin in 2025. I am that for the stock market, we are about to see a lot of companies have bad numbers, meaning bad earnings reports for Q1 2025, probably more even in Q2 and Q3 of 2025, showing notably less earnings than they were anticipating because of the trade war. So if all these stocks, the best stocks, the S&P 500, best stocks in the market, are declining due to bad earnings, bad numbers, Bitcoin doesn't have earnings. The price of any asset goes up, goes down, but that's technicals. Fundamentals for Bitcoin are getting better, while fundamentals due to earnings. For much of the S&P, probably everything but software companies, their fundamentals are going down, Bitcoin's is going up. Gold's is also going up. Gold is rising in value. This could be Bitcoin's year.
This is why Bitcoin will decouple, because Bitcoin isn't priced on earnings. And if countries are looking for something to own, you're going to want scarce reserve assets. Long gold, long Bitcoin. Easy, easy. So people don't understand what we're living through. And I'm looking on the internet and everyone's freaking out. And my message to my audience and to the Bitcoiners is just relax. You got to breathe, calm down. Understand what you own. Understand what we're living through right now. Let the stock market puke and figure itself out. And by the way, is it over? No. What are we living through right now? We're trying. I'm literally on Wall Street having meetings with Wall Street people. This city is full of a bunch of over-levered, pompous hedge fund assholes. These guys, the stock market's down like 4%. These guys are begging and pleading and screaming for a bailout. Give me a break. Everyone wants a relief rally. We're now at the phase where everyone's like, oh, you hear that? Oh my God, Trump said that he's open to negotiations. Trump said he might walk back what he said. And no one's actually pricing in the fact that Trump means business. Whether you like it or not, Trump wants to help the poor American. Trump wants to create factory jobs. Trump wants to produce stuff here. Trump wants to fix the deficit problem. That's until I see otherwise, Trump is about business. Trump is keeping his promises. Whether you like it or not, this is not a political podcast. I'm just calling it how I see it. And you've got a bunch of over-levered people here in New York that are just losing their mind. And this is so bullish for Bitcoin. They're going to have to print so much money. Bitcoin is really priced with how much fiat currency is sloshing around in the world. And in order for all of this to play out and work, we have to debase our currency, we have to devalue our debt, and we have to create more fiat. It's going to send Bitcoin nuclear.
And by the way, my brother and I will be speaking at Bitcoin Conference 2025 in Vegas. Ticket prices are about to increase. So use code ALTCOINDAILY for 10% off. Ticket prices increase this week. Link down below.